Syracuse, as you would imagine, wearing their orange, the blue and white of Johns Hopkins. Greg Matthews, the face-off specialist for Hopkins.
And Bob, there are the face-off stats for Syracuse, 46.5, and Matthews, tremendous as a specialist. And here we go with action.
Del Dressel controls it so. Johns Hopkins on offense as we start this 1985 championship match. Hopkins defending champions.
All right, now in this midfield, we have to watch for Del Dressel, number 4 in the midfield. That's Muchler, number 20.
Loose behind the goal. Scooped up and saved by Hopkins. Fighting for it is number 9, Bouvier. He can't get to it and taken away by Kevin Sheehan, number 28 in Syracuse. Fred Opie's got possession. We'll get their offensive unit going.
Good indication, Bob, of the intensity that Syracuse is coming out with. They're not going to sit down like they did last year. They want to play full bore from the starting whistle.
Todd Curry, number 16 for Syracuse, into the box now. Syracuse on offense.
You see number 16, the coaches feel that he is a legitimate first-team All-American choice. Todd
Kavanaugh, number 13, Rhett Kavanaugh, taken away in front. Hopkins has it back. We come the other way. A little too far for Muchler. And Syracuse retains possession. Number 16, Todd Curry, 24 goals this year. Works against Bouvier, number 9.
There's a good shot of Curry right now. Again, Curry and Kotz together scored 59 goals during the season, and that is a tremendous amount. To put it in perspective, Bouvier and Wood, the attack, the all-star attack from Hopkins, only scored 56. So that is an excellent midfield.
Brad Kotz, number 30, goal! He had 5 goals in the championship game 2 years ago, and Kotz, the senior from Camillus, New York, gets Syracuse out to a 1-0 lead.
All right, you're talking about one of the best players in the country, Brad Kotz. He was the player of the year 2 years ago. He was the MVP in this very game in '83, and here he comes down with a right-handed shot, very little angle. Quinn is absolutely mad at himself because with almost no angle, watch Kotz go to his right hand. He shouldn't shoot it right-handed because there's no angle, but he goes right inside the pipe. Quinn moved his feet just for a second. The ball went in, and that's a very big goal.
Two-time All-American Brad Kotz. That goal comes at 1:29 of the first period, so Syracuse has the lead this time, and at least for the moment, not having to worry about coming from behind. Hopkins controls the face-off. Number 32 is John Kuhmenacker.
I'm sorry, Bob. We talked about keys to the game. Right now, the tempo, as we talked about, is all Syracuse way. If they can keep this going, they're doing exactly what they want.
We play 4 15-minute periods, 10 men to a side. You must have 4 men in your defensive half and 6 men in your offensive half at all times.
What you're seeing now is a transition after the face-off. The specialists come out and they get that full unit from the midfield back on field.
Brian Wood looking to ride in against his defender, Kevin Sheehan. Number 13, Shannonchuck. Number 12, Matthews.
Excellent save by Nims. I'll tell you right now, that was Kuhmenacker with the shot, and he has a good left-hand shot as anybody in the country, and don't underestimate the importance of that save by Nims.
Eric Jeske, number 11, across the midfield line. Syracuse with a 1-0 lead.
Now it'll be interesting to see, Bob, if they go back to Mr. Nelson. I feel that Nelson's going to have to challenge DiTommaso to establish himself as a factor in this game.
This is Kavanaugh. Matrosini watching him. Kavanaugh breaks into the box. Matrosini riding against him with the long stick.
Kavanaugh's on the second unit here. He has an excellent outside shot. He's one of the big guns from the outside. He had 4 goals and 2 assists against UNC in that overtime win.
This is the main man, number 1, Tim Nelson.
Get up.
DiTommaso watching him defensively. Nelson, number 1. His brother, Tom Nelson, number 5.
Get up, Chano. Shot.
Tommaso got to stick to it, but it comes back to Tim Nelson. Syracuse leads at 1-0 early first period. Tom Nelson, guarded by Shannonchuck, number 13.
Tom Nelson last year, who picked up the slack when his brother got hurt and darn near pulled off the upset for Syracuse. Excellent player.
Tom Nelson rides in. Quinn watches from the cage.
The matchup here, Bob, is Nelson against a midfielder. You saw 13 with a short stick against Nelson. That was a mismatch, and that's why they went 1-on-1 behind the goal.
Scooped up by Syracuse. Kavanaugh's back on it. Number 13.
And now he's got that long stick against him. You'll see him back off. He probably won't go 1-on-1 with this guy. He'll prefer to pass it off.
Very deliberate pace early in this game. Kavanaugh behind the net.
Get up.
Nelson. DiTommaso checking him. Nelson shot save made by Quinn.
A little bit of a force by Timmy Nelson. He's very anxious to make himself known against DiTomaso. He forced himself in. He can get closer than that. He's a better player than that, but he was very anxious to get his first shot off.
Again, to remind fans new to the sport, when a shot is taken, the team nearest the ball, if it goes out of bounds, retains possession. Syracuse almost gaining it right there, but DiTomaso back to Quinn, and Hopkins now has got it back.
Well, so far we've had 2 hard hits, and both of them have been delivered by Syracuse. They're out here to come on strong.
Wickwire having trouble clearing the ball for Hopkins. This is Del Dressel, number 4 in the midfield.
This is what Hopkins likes to do. They like to bring their midi down, give him the ball, and let him dodge men up the field for the clear.
John Dressel, number 2. Lost control, check from behind. Unsettled situation. Hopkins tries to control, still loose, and now Fred Opie, the long stick defenseman.
Look at the way he handles that stick, just like an attackman. Even though that stick is about 18 inches longer than an attack stick, Opie's a tremendous athlete that can handle it in traffic.
Goal in front. Kevin Sheehan. Syracuse takes a 2-0 lead on Kevin Sheehan's goal. Will return. Sheehan's 5th goal of the season, giving Syracuse that 2-0 lead. Another unsettled situation. Schreiber can't get in for Hopkins, and scooped up on the run by Tom Corey of Syracuse. Fred Cambria, number 29. 9 minutes now remaining in the first period.
There goes Nelson again. He's the one that settles down this offense. He's 6'2" and about 200 pounds. He's got all the size he needs to control the ball. And his biggest importance to the offense is assist-wise. He'll control the ball more than shoot it.
Todd Curry, bounce. Tim Nelson's got it. Nelson's pass errant out to midfield.
Kind of a bad feed, Bob. It was right inside traffic, and we have a whistle now.
And an offside call against Syracuse, so it'll be Johns Hopkins possession.
Offsides means that the 3 players that have to stay on the other half of the midfield stripe step over that line. You must maintain 3 players plus the goalie on one half of the field at all times.
Don Zimmerman carrying the flame. That's what the coach does at Johns Hopkins with those decades and decades of tradition.
When you play Hopkins, you're playing 30 years of tradition. It goes back to Bob Scott, Chickaroni years, 10 of those, and then Zimmerman now for 2. They don't lose many, and I tell you, if you lose them, you hear about it from the alumni.
Schreiber, number 24. Krummenacher. Save made in front by Nims. It may have hit the post.
I believe you're right. It did hit the post. That was just where Krummenacher wanted to be, and I believe they're setting up that situation with Krummenacher on the left wing. They think they can take advantage of it, and they are. Here it is right here. Look at Krummenacher. He works the left side of the goal, comes in. He had Nims just where he wanted him and hit the pipe. I give credit to Nims, too, because he had a cutoff so that Krummenacher had to go for that low percentage shot.
Roy Simmons, the victory his team came away with in the semifinal was the 500th victory for Syracuse in the sport of lacrosse, and that was that come-from-behind effort in overtime against North Carolina that put Syracuse in this championship game.
You also consider against, or the last 38 games, that is, Roy Simmons has only lost twice, both of them to Hopkins.
Early this season at Homewood Field, Syracuse in the midst of a road trip, they lost a regular season game. Now number 16, Todd Curry for Syracuse, moves in. Number 44, Steve Mitchell, watches defensively. 2-0 Syracuse, halfway through period 1. Along with Leith Elsmo, I'm Bob Lee. The action from Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island.
You're seeing now as a midfielder working against a long sticks defender.
Curry. And we'll step aside. 8:06 to play, period number 1. Syracuse retains possession on the shot because a Syracuse player closest to the ball when it did go out of bounds. That's the rule in lacrosse. Tom Nelson, number 5, looks to ride in.
And interestingly enough, they didn't give it to Tim Nelson. They did give it to Tom for possession, and Tim is usually the guy that takes it in that spot. Maybe they're afraid of DiTomaso.
Foul called against Syracuse. It'll be Hopkins' possession. They trail by 2 goals and will come now to the left.
Hopkins is putting in that first midfield unit of Dressel, and Muchler, and these guys can really score. As a matter of fact, Dressel, number 4, he's an All-American. He put this team in the victory column against Virginia, and he'll have to do it today if they want to get back in this game.
Our referee, Charlie Phillips, Al Blau, the umpire, Al Sattler, the field judge, the chief bench official, Paul Caldwell, who keeps an eye on the substitutions and the clock on the sideline. Muchler, number 20, moves in on Cambria. Wood has it checked away. Wood has been held in check defensively so far. Sheehan is tangling with him there, and a whistle.
That's a push from behind by Boubier. Watch this move by Sheehan if we get it. And here it is right now. Brian Wood wearing a flak jacket. He's got some bruised ribs. And he's being pushed around pretty good by Sheehan, who just gets the tip of the stick there. An excellent defensive move. And then he was pushed after that play by Greg Boubier as he came over to get the ground ball. It'll be Syracuse ball.
7:26 to play in this first period. Sheehan has that goal from his defense position. The second goal that made it 2-0. Kotz got the scoring going 90 seconds in. It's 2-0.
I tell you, there's nothing that can take it out of your sails more than a defender scoring on you. This is an important game. And when you have their defenseman coming down and scoring, that has to hurt a little bit.
Syracuse on offense. Tim Nelson.
All right, they said that was with possession. We're in a man-up situation right now. You're seeing them in a 3-3 against pretty much of a zone man down. And you'll see Syracuse cut into that advantage. They've got 6 players against 5. They are man up.
There's Nelson, number 42, Bruno. Cuts, fakes the shot. Behind the net, it's Todd Curry. There's Tim Nelson, number 1. Man advantage for Syracuse. Cuts to Nelson. Another Corey behind the net. Blocked in front of him. That shot taken by Bruno.
Tremendous block by Dan Powell, the defenseman.
Still an unsettled situation with 6:40 to play in this period. No one's got possession yet. And Syracuse has it, but a pushing call against Syracuse. It'll be Hopkins' ball.
This is a good break, or not even a break, but it's a great defensive stand by Hopkins, because with 2 goals leading for Syracuse, they certainly didn't want to go 3 goals down this early in the first quarter. So let's give credit to that man-down unit.
Able to hold Syracuse at bay.
Now this will be interesting too, because they won't have the advantage clearing here that they normally do. They're a man down. They have to take the ball across the midfield stripe and into the box to release the man that's in the penalty box.
It's called pumping in the man who's in the penalty box, which would then put the sides even.
They'll take their time and they can work around the crease there and just stall till his penalty's over. That's exactly what they're doing. Good shot of John Krimenacher. That wrap on his left leg came from a slightly pulled hamstring in the Virginia game, but he's okay. He's about 100%.
Biding his time, waiting to get the teams equalized. Syracuse leads it. Hopkins in possession. Bill Dressel starts out against Fred Opie. Loses possession, but
actually that was a behind-the-back pass, which is a little bit gutsy on the midfield stripe.
Now, DiTomaso was able to scoop it up in time. That one off the mark, and Sheehan's got it back. Still unsettled, though loose near the crease. Still unsettled.
Very sloppy for these two teams. You won't see this very often, and usually one of these teams will take advantage of that. Nope, whistle blown.
As Dressel picked it up, we had a push call against Hopkins, so it'll be Syracuse possession.
I can understand why Hopkins is a little bit tight, but Syracuse should be flying because everything's going their way. Now watch this on the loose ball situation. There's the push, running right over the back of him. It was a good move by the defender because he rolled out. That was Michael O'Donnell.
A totally different texture and feeling to this championship game than last year's at this point in the first period.
Well, of course, last year both teams are a little tentative, but Hopkins was the one that came out flying. And maybe it's just the fact that when you've got that championship on you, the other team has a little bit more incentive. Syracuse certainly looks like they have that incentive today.
Well, they had 2 goals in the first 5 minutes, and now we've got 5 minutes remaining in the first 15-minute period. And still, those are the only 2 goals up there. Mapes, number 3. The 13, Kavanaugh.
Delaware.
Take a look from the end zone. Tom Nelson, number 5. Wickwire watches defensively. Tom rides in. Looks for the shot. Bounces past the post. Scooped up very well by Schmoller. Back outside to Nelson. Blocked by DiTomaso, and John's got it back for Hopkins. DiTomaso a little errant at midfield.
Hopkins is really tight. Let me tell you, that is normally a goal situation. DiTomaso knocked it down, and in a normal situation, Hopkins with 2 passes would be down shooting.
Now, Quinn comes out of his crease to take command of that situation.
Time and time again, it's Larry Quinn who puts his team back on the right track, and maybe he'll do it right here. DiTomaso can shoot. You've got to pick him up.
DiTomaso, the defenseman, moves across the midway line and shot right onto Nims, loose in front. Syracuse has possession, looks to clear, leading it by 2 goals 4.5 minutes to go in this first period along the far sideline. Here comes Syracuse.
Great indication of how Sheehan can move that big stick like an attackman. He did a nice little face dodge maneuver, got across field, and he's staying there. He's on the crease, and he'll get a shot if they give it to him. Look at him. He's
Nelson
waiting for the ball.
In front. What a shot at a goal by Fred Opie behind his back, 3-0.
I have never seen a defenseman shoot behind the back. That is absolutely dramatic. Fred Opie, number 34. Well, watch it come down. Opie and Sheehan are on the crease, 2 defensemen. That means they're not being picked up by the midfielder. Nelson comes in, spots Opie, charging across the crease, and Opie comes in, fakes the left hand, and goes around the back. Unbelievable.
The goal of the match so far, Opie at 10:50 gives Syracuse a 3-0 lead. Timeout, and we'll return in a moment.
Big thing here is that 2 of the 3 have been scored by defensemen. I don't know if that's ever happened before in championship play. I suspect that it hasn't.
And Opie's goal, sheer beauty to watch behind the back. Brad Kotz, number 30 for Syracuse, having his troubles there. Controlled by the Orangemen, intercepted by DiTomaso, and here comes Johns Hopkins making a break. DiTomaso takes matters into his own hands, losing possession, ably picked up by Mapes, who came back well and still unsettled, and now Gordon Mapes, number 3, has it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hopkins is here to play now. He's woken up his team. Don Zimmerman has, and here comes Dressel. They're moving the ball.
Del Dressel, number 4. In front, Bouvier, saved by Nims, and Nims has it back. Alert play in front made defensively by Sheehan.
Hopkins has had 3 excellent shots on goal, and Nims has been up to every one of them. Here comes Wood.
Wood with the best shot possibly in the sport, feeds it off in front. Loose, Nims pounces on it and has control.
He got it inside to Billy Morrow. Billy Morrow does not have a great shot. He's good off the ball and needs to be open to get his shot off.
Well, at the top of the game, we pointed out what each team had to do. It appears to be, Leaf, you had it right on form.
They're looking good for Syracuse, and if they can keep up this running and intensity, of course, with a lead at halftime, they'll look pretty good.
Hopkins will have possession back. That's Frank Lanuto, who has 11 goals this year, young man from Long Island. The hotbeds of soccer, well, Long Island and Baltimore, and certainly now upstate New York, the greater Syracuse area, where there is so much great homegrown talent.
Let me also say that don't go anywhere, because I'll tell you right now, Hopkins will be back in this game before you know it. Both these teams can score fast, in a hurry, and in big bunches.
Under 3 minutes now, period number 1. The 1985 Division I Lacrosse Championship on ESPN. Syracuse leads at 3-0. Hopkins looking to clear its own end, and again having a lot of problems, and the keeper, Quinn, has to come out.
One of the reasons they're having a problem, Bob, is because Syracuse has 9 defensemen on the field right now. They've got 9 long sticks, and that's something that Roy Simmons has experimented with. Did it first this beginning of this year against Hopkins in the first part of the season, and he puts 9 defensemen in there for the ride to block it down.
3-0 is our score. We'll be back.
Okay, here we go. Watch the intensity here for Todd Curry, who comes down and slashes, or doesn't even slash. It was a slash that got him a penalty, actually, but great effort by Curry to stop DiTomaso's fast break.
Man advantage now situation for Johns Hopkins. Wood, Dressel.
Big chance for Hopkins to score a goal. They need one badly.
Dressel spins with a shot and a goal! Bill Dressel, his 21st goal of the season, and Johns Hopkins gets on the scoreboard.
Well, Dressel was the guy who did it against Virginia. He pulled that team back, and they finally won to get here, and he's doing it right now. He's an All-American and a good one. Watch the shot that comes off of the left side. That was Krummenacher. Dressel real alertly picks it up, little roll dodge, now goes with the left hand. It's the only thing he has, a nice bounce shot, probably the easiest shot for Nims to save today, but Nims didn't get it. Here's another look at it. He rolls to his left hand. Actually, Nims is screened a little bit, and Hopkins incidentally screens better than any team in the country. A little bit of a screen, and that's what can happen.
So goal number 21 for Del Dressel, and it's now 3-1. And Hopkins able to get on the scoreboard, put one past Tom Nims, and these 2 goalies, as we mentioned, best in the country. You're seeing the top 2 seeds in the tournament, meeting for the 3rd consecutive year for the title, and Don Zimmerman, well, he's within 2 goals now. Undefeated last year in his rookie season as head coach. Played at Johns Hopkins in the late 70s.
Great year, storybook year for him last year. And of course this year, not too bad either. 1 loss coming into this game.
Eric Jeske will put it into play, number 11.
I'm a little surprised at the slow tempo that Syracuse is exercising on their offensive half of the field. I think as the game goes along, you'll see him running a little more transition type orientation on the offense.
Tim Nelson out in front, shot, and save made as his brother Tom with the shot, the save by Quinn. 100 seconds now in the period. Hopkins just can't clear the area, and now Tom Nelson, number 5, is on it. Brother Tim, the All-American, playing with that leg brace.
He's strong right there. He can get a shot. If he pushes in on DiTomaso, he'll have a shot from out there. Excellent.
Has it taken away very ably by Steve Mitchell, number 4, and the long stick begins the attack, number 44. Mitchell into the area for Hopkins. They trail 3-1.
Mitchell did a real smart thing. He was watching as Tim Nelson was going one-on-one against DiTomaso, and at the right moment when he turned his back, he double-teamed him.
Morrow passes it outside with a minute now in this period. Hopkins making changes on the go, getting some short sticks on. Krummenacher, number 32.
I'll tell you what to watch for. Krummenacher loves his left hand. Watch for him to go one-on-one and get the left-handed shot.
Moves in. Krummenacher deflected out. It'll be Hopkins' ball. They were closest to it as it went out. 47 seconds now in the period.
Problem with that one was, Bob, as you see a good shot of Krummenacher, the All-American, he came left all the way and didn't get quite enough on it. He needs to go to his right, get the defenseman to overcommit, and then roll back a little bit closer to the goal for the left-handed shot.
Krummenacher, he's still out there as Bouvier now puts it into play. 40 seconds. Bouvier in front, bounces it in. We've got a one-goal game.
There we go.
Greg Bouvier.
As we talked about Hopkins, they can score fast, just like Syracuse can, and Bouvier puts them on the map. Another St. Mary's product, actually. Bouvier and Wood came from St. Mary's, two great players. He's got good size, too, 6'3". Watch him push it on the right, make the defenseman overcommit, comes around left. The defenseman can't catch him. He protects the stick, comes in and bounces it past Nims. Nothing Nims could do to protect him. Another look. As Bouvier rolls in, he's open now, and he just waits for Nims to come out one step too far, and he looks for the spot.
Oh, Bouvier made it a 3-2 game, and as you said, don't go away. Now Hopkins in the come-from-behind position, and they win the face-off as Matthews has it.
Greg Matthews, a specialist in the face-off, and you'll see now he'll come off. The offense should slow it down, but Dressel's not, as they change on the fly through the box.
25 seconds in the period. In front, Matthews shot. Bouvier's on the rebound, behind his back, loose in front, still unsettled, and it's in. We're tied.
Del Dressel, unbelievable. He stayed on the ball. Nims deflected it twice, and he put it in off the rebound from Nims. That was an excellent move, and Hopkins pulled a trick there. Let's shoot. It's Greg Matthews shooting, and he normally doesn't stay on the offense. Nims saves that one. Now watch this. Bouvier picks it up over the head, and still Nims saves it. But now Dressel's on the far side. He picks it up and opportunistically dishes it right over top of Nims' head. Nims can't do any more than that. Here comes Hopkins.
Dumps it in at the 14:40 mark, and now this is really heated up. Both teams in overdrive, and with 20 seconds to go in period one, we are tied at 3-3.
I had a feeling before the game that the team that won the second quarter had a good chance to win the game. This first quarter's knotted up. Let's see what happens next.
Unsettled off the face-off and a whistle for a push. And it'll be Johns Hopkins ball with 14 seconds to play. Time to set up one play, perhaps, late here in the first period.
Take a look at the push right here as the ball's loose on the ground. You see over the top on Brad Kotz. That could have been a couple of different calls. They gave him a push, and without possession, the ball goes to Hopkins. And watch now as Krummenacher tries that left-handed shot. He's got 12 seconds. It's all Krummenacher. And
he's on the ball, number 32, moving in. It's in! All the way from midfield, Krummenacher biding his time with 4 seconds to play in the period, and the Blue Jays take the lead.
Well, he mixed everybody up because he took the right-handed shot. He's an All-American. He can shoot both ways, but I'm sure Syracuse was looking for him to come back for his right. See how he gives a little head fake for his left, and then he just accelerated, came down close to the plane of the goal, and he pumps it in here. And look at Billy Morrow, 25, jumping up and screening. I'm sorry, that's Mike Morrow. Billy Morrow plays for Penn, his brother, but Mike Morrow jumping up, screening him on the crease, and here's another look at it. Watch the little head fake was right there. He froze the defenseman with the head fake, then blazes down everything he has, right-handed shot. Look at Morrow in the crease. Morrow jumps up, screens the goalie, and the shot goes underneath his legs.
4 goals for Johns Hopkins in 2 minutes and 4 seconds, and a whistle again off the face-off. Time of that one, 14:56, so the Blue Jays take the lead. It'll be Syracuse ball with 2 seconds to play now. Well, the second period may very well hold the key, and if there is a team on the roll, they are wearing the white, Johns Hopkins. Syracuse took a 3-0 advantage.
I think we'll see both teams kind of loosen up in the second period. We'll see a little bit more of the caliber of lacrosse that they're both able to play.
2 seconds to go. Number 13, Rhett Kavanaugh, puts it in, winds it up from well outside, and Quinn gobbles it up, and that is period one. A classic example of ebb, flow, momentum. Syracuse jumps out 3-0. Hopkins comes back with 4 goals in the last 2 minutes and 4 seconds of this period. Period one's in the books, and Hopkins leading it by a goal. 4-3 game. Johns Hopkins in the white and blue with the lead, along with Lee Belsmo. I'm Bob Lee. We're at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Matthews wins another face-off and gives off to Bouvier.
I'll tell you, Hopkins is in better shape than we think, or they think they are, with a 4-3 lead, because Syracuse really hasn't scored offensively yet. 2 of the 3 goals are been scored by defensemen, so they've got to get on track.
A 4-goal spurt in 2 minutes and 4 seconds late in period 1, got Johns Hopkins back into it. Hopkins commanding lead in this series. Russell outside. There's Bouvier.
It was a couple years ago when Roy Simmons got Nelson to come up from North Carolina, abandoned their program. He got Nelson, and since then, they haven't lost too many.
Bouvier. Morrow, loose in front. Nims has got it. Outlets quickly. Here comes Syracuse. Donahue, number 17. Just underway in the second period now. This is Tim Nelson, number 1, as a cutter in the crease. Gordon Mapes now. Number 3, riding in front, loose. Still unsettled. And there's Quinn to pluck it out of the air.
Syracuse again trying to establish their offense, and they're a little bit anxious right there and didn't quite get off the shot they wanted.
Russell in front of his brother, wide of the mark. Nims chasing, and he's got it.
Tied up beautifully by Jeff Desko, the defenseman, and the ball came in tight to the crease. He just hammered that attackman and drove him off the crease.
90 seconds now deep into the second period. A little bit more wide open, a little bit more creative. It took a while for Hopkins to get their sea legs. Both teams make a change or two on the go here.
Interestingly enough, Hopkins has scored 2 of their 4 goals in unsettled situations, and normally that's Syracuse's strong point.
Number 11, Jeschke backs off a little bit. Steve Muchler watching him from his midfield position.
He'll look to go one-on-one, created an imbalance in the defense, and then dish it off to somebody.
Mapes to Nelson. Tim Nelson against DiTomaso. A critical matchup in the game. Nelson riding and looking for an opening. Save made by Quinn off his leg, and then he gobbles it up and outlets quickly to DiTomaso.
DiTomaso did his job. He made Nelson shoot a poor percentage shot. The shot had nothing on it. An easy save for Quinn.
Bouvier, just couldn't get to that pass. That was a pass, not a shot, so it is Syracuse possession.
But you know, Nelson's strength, again, is not going in and taking that shot. The man averages 6 assists a game, only 1 goal a game. So he's going to be a big factor in this game if he just goes ahead and controls the ball, lets other people score.
Well,
there it is right
in the
there.
nets.
There it is, DiTomaso driving Nelson off of the shot, which meant the ball had little or nothing on it. Quinn just picked it up, got it back out for the clear.
So far, 2 goals for Del Dressel, 2 assists for Tim Nelson of Syracuse. The prettiest goal, Fred Opie. A long stick behind his back, behind his head. Syracuse having trouble clearing. Unsettled situation in their half. And O'Donnell tries to get to it, and finally it's going to come all the way back to Nims.
Key is, though, Bob, you're right. They're having trouble clearing it, and they've got to solve that to have good success against Hopkins. Both of these teams on the year clear at about an 80% efficiency rate, and normally in a big game like this, both teams clear with a little bit of relative ease.
The field is in perfect condition. It is all grass, a little bit chewed up in the goal mouth from yesterday's practice, but it is normally the football field for Brown.
I tell you, the field's almost in too good a shape. When you're down there running, it's a little bit slick in that you can lose your feet if you do a hard cut.
Larry Quinn told me before the game he preferred this field to the one last year at Delaware, which might even have been a little bit slicker. Whistle at midfield.
Moving picket looked like the call was, and possession will go over to Syracuse.
3.5 minutes into the second period, still 4-3. No scoring in the second period, and Johns Hopkins with that 1 goal advantage.
My mistake, though. Let's look at Hopkins getting possession, and Krummenacher picks it up on the side. Hopkins, again, likes to clear with a midfielder. Small stick, a lot of control, bringing the ball up.
Shannon Chuck, number 24 is Schreiber.
This midfield caters to Krummenacher right there, 32. Good size, 6'3", and an excellent left-handed shot.
He had that lovely right-handed shot just seconds before the end of the first period. Schreiber moves in.
Usually they just set the table for Krummenacher. Let's see what happens.
There is Krummenacher at the edge of the box. 11 minutes now till halftime.
Again, this game has now fallen into the tempo that Hopkins would like it to take. They can save all their legs and have everything they need for the fourth quarter. Syracuse is going to have to turn it on, get more of that transition type game going.
There's Wood. He's been quiet so far. Had a great championship game last year. Thielman. Wood.
Hopkins not, they're in no rush. They have that 1 goal lead, and they're going to wait till they get a high percentage shot. Takes a little bit of while, a little bit of time. That doesn't matter for them.
And Schreiber talking to his mates. Wood behind the net.
Last week, Virginia shut off Wood, and that is a rarity. So Wood, I'm sure today, is really bent on coming out there and making a few goals for himself.
Very deliberate pace for Hopkins. Up by a goal. They came back from a 3-goal deficit. Threw him a knocker, had notions of shooting.
Chuck,
Chuck in front.
A lot of activity on the crease, you know. When it looks like it's a slow tempo, if you look at the crease in that situation, there's a lot of activity, a lot of shoving going on in there.
Opie breaks up the play, gains possession. Now Syracuse will have a chance to do their patented running. Quick outlet.
Chanachuk with a nice check on the defenseman, but Syracuse pulls it up.
Mapes has it, little trouble with his footing. And passing it too far for Tom Nelson, so it will be Hopkins' ball. They will have it back. We'll return with 9:44 remaining in this first half. So Hopkins in possession, number 20, Steve Muchler, the junior midfielder from Baltimore, looking to begin clearing his end with a 1-goal advantage for the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins, the defending national champions. Back past Quinn, alertly by Chanachuk, who has it back now. Muchler's got it, but loose at the edge of the box. Boubier swiping for it, loose in front. There's Wood. Goal! Brian Wood, goal number 32 of the season, and a 2-goal lead for Johns Hopkins.
I'll tell you what, when Wood got that ball 10 yards in front of the goal, it was already in the net. You don't do that to Brian Wood. He's got the best stick on the field. Nobody's any better than he is. Watch right here. Again, he was shut out last week, so he's eager to score. Picks it out of midair, and watch this stick. Watch the magic wand. He'll fake it across the crease, pull it back. Nims, no chance. He throws the stick trying to get it. We'll take another look from the end zone. Watch the head fake. Head fake, fake the feed, pull it back. Nims has to respect the feed, fake, and he is out of position. Brian Wood puts his team up 5-3 with 9 minutes left, and all Hopkins at this point, Bob Lee.
5:42, the time of Brian Wood's goal, Leaf, and now the 2-goal advantage for Hopkins. A timeout is taken. So we've got 9:18 to play in this first half. Syracuse again in that familiar position. They don't like it, but they will have to come from behind, and we'll return to Providence in a moment. Syracuse will face it off. Following Brian Wood's goal that made it 5-3, Hopkins in the lead.
Brad Kotz, number 30 for Syracuse, against the face-off specialist for Hopkins. That's Matthews, but Kotz is a guy they have to go to. He's the kind of guy for Syracuse that could ignite the team. They need somebody to do that right now.
McClam with his long stick. There is Dressel. Loose in front. Saved by Nims, and a very good one. And a dead-on shot. And now Kotz comes the other way for Syracuse. Under 9 minutes in this first half. The Orangemen trailing by a deuce. There goes Kotz right down the middle. Over the top.
I tell you, Kotz looks tired. The whole Syracuse team is not playing their ball right now, and hopefully they'll get untracked, and I hope it's not just an energy deficiency. The whole team is going to be flat today, because when these two teams play, as we see Roy Simmons on the sideline, he's worried too. When these two teams play, there is nothing more beautiful to watch. And here's the story with ground balls, 13-5, and I tell you, that's a surprise, because Hopkins seems to be controlling tempo and shots at this point.
To Nelson against DiTomaso. The Orangemen down by a deuce. Mapes behind the net. Quinn comes out, puts a whack in there to help out, and gains possession. Or does he? Still unsettled, still loose. The goal is empty. DiTomaso effectively playing goalie right now. Now Quinn's back in position.
Batted out of bounds by Hopkins out there on the sideline. That was Guy Matrosini, who plays the long sticks midfield unit, but hard to understand the Syracuse philosophy right now, because Nelson's the guy that should be controlling behind the goal. Here's Mapes behind the goal, who was one of their best outside shooters. So maybe it's just that Nelson wants to get some shots off to get that monkey off his back against DiTomaso.
Mapes walks it in behind the net and checked away and plucked out of the air by Quinn. Nice defensive play made.
Watching the sidelines for Syracuse, and they're not too happy. That is not their style. I don't want to keep repeating that, but you're going to see this team ignite and open up for whatever reason. It might take a big play by Kotz, a big play by Curry or Nelson, but somebody's going to do it, and then we'll see some transition ball.
Well, Muchler, as Hopkins again looking to clear its end. The defending champs having come from behind, now taking a 2-goal lead. There is Del Dressel, number 4. Wood will have the last goal.
Okay, they sure make the clears look easy by bringing that midfielder down. They have had no resistance on the clears, and Syracuse has had a heck of a time.
Steve Muchler, number 15, is sophomore Brian Wood.
Brian Wood with one of the hardest shots from out in front of anybody in the game. I hope we get a chance to see one, because when he lets it go, it just whistles, and he likes to shoot underneath the pipe, which is a very dramatic goal when you see it.
Del Dressel in front, and a goal, and a 3-goal Johns Hopkins lead.
Del Dressel's a leader, and late in the season, he went to the coach, told the coach that he thought he wasn't playing up to his capacity, his potential, and he started doing it. And again, last week in Virginia, he single-handedly brought this team back from a 6-1 deficit against the University of Virginia and put him in this final. Look at Dressel, nice roll back against the grain of the defenseman, comes in and fakes out the other defenseman for the right-handed shot. We'll take a look at it from the end zone one more time as Dressel takes the ball. Now watch, he feels the defenseman on his left, rolls inside him. The defenseman has no chance to get him a shot. Now watch him fake it right to the right-hand side, and with one fake, he takes the second shot. Nims, again, is getting some shots that are very difficult to save, and that can affect his confidence level.
He's got 3 goals, Del Dressel does, and a 6-3 Johns Hopkins lead. That time of the goal, 7:54. Syracuse wins the faceoff. Opie.
3 goals is a day's work for a midfielder, so
yes, it is.
He's on his way for a fantastic day.
Changes made by both teams on the fly, and in possession, Pat Donahue, number 17 for Syracuse. Number 13 is Red Kavanaugh. John Schmoller steps on, number 21 as well.
Hopkins have been dominating the faceoffs, Bob, so what Syracuse did was put the long sticks defenseman on the wings to help get the ball, and it worked.
6.5 minutes now in this first half. Donahue playing it wide.
See how they keep slipping on that grass? The grass is very thick and it's a little bit slippery.
Schmoller, number 21, watched by Matt Frassini with that long stick, the defenseman.
One-on-one.
Schmoller, his right hand in front, and plucked away by Wickwire, and the clearing begun for Johns Hopkins. There is Wood right down the middle again, spins. Bouvier couldn't control it. Had he done so, he could have turned quickly for the shot, and a pushing call.
Slash. That's going to be on Syracuse, a slashing call, and that'll be a minute penalty, which will give Hopkins an opportunity to score yet another goal and to go 4 goals up. But Bouvier on the crease took his eyes off the ball on the feed from Wood, and that's why he didn't pick it up. Now here's the slash right across the back as Wood was doing some fancy footwork. He sees Bouvier across the crease. Now watch, he throws at Bouvier. Bouvier was already looking for his shot, took his eyes off the ball and went past him to the wing.
So the Blue Jays will have the extra man. They will put it into play at the edge of the box, and Bouvier number 9 to Wood number 15. Johns Hopkins leading it 6-3 along with Lee Felsmo. I'm Bob Lee. ESPN's coverage of the Lacrosse Championships, Division I from Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. A man up now situation for Johns Hopkins. There's Bouvier, Wood.
No cutting right now, but you normally do an extra man situation, and there are the efficiency totals, both over 40, 41, 43. Hopkins had trouble earlier in the year, but they worked out the wrinkles, and they're pretty good through the playoff structure. But both teams try to move a man, get that defense, which is one man short, rotating. Then they find the open man for a good high percentage shot.
Shot was taken by Del Dressel, but Syracuse closest to it as it went over the end line, so it'll be Syracuse possession. 5:16 to play in this first half.
That normally never happens when you shoot an extra man. Normally you're always backing it up. That's sort of a sin that you don't see and don't like to see as a coach, giving possession to the other team. Watch him double team now on the end line. See him double team because they have the man advantage. He'll try to run it out of there, and he's got it now.
It's a foot race, and Todd Curry right now is winning it against Brad McClam. Todd Curry wasting his time. They pump in the penalized player, and the teams are now even.
Talk about conditioning. That was a 100-yard sprint, and he's passing cross field to Kotz, who can shoot it from there.
Brad Kotz, number 30. Syracuse led by 3. Now they trail by 3. Lanudo, number 12. Kotz has it back.
They need a big play from a guy like Kotz. Kotz should go ahead, go one-on-one, try to get a good shot off. They need a lift from one of their stars.
Kotz still in possession. Substitutions made on the go.
Sorry, Bob. Nelson being shadowed by DiTomaso. He's all over him.
Loose in front. Another unsettled situation on the pass attempt. Syracuse has it back. Nelson. Pass in front. Just too far for Emmett Krinup, and it's gathered back in by Kotz with 4 minutes now in this first half. Syracuse with a sustained attack.
Syracuse look like they have heavy feet. I don't understand it. They look a little sluggish.
Fanning in front was Kavanaugh, and cleared quickly. Quinn gets it out to DiTomaso. Johns Hopkins on the attack. DiTomaso with his long stick. There's Wood.
DiTomaso staying in for the shot, just like they did at the other end with Syracuse early in the game. He didn't get the feed, so now he backs off.
3:40 in this first half. This is Mutchler, number 20. John Dressel, number 2, steps on. Hopkins makes several substitutions now in possession with the lead. The teams are even. Dressel, Mutchler moving in on Kavanaugh.
You can see the slick surface, the grass very full.
Dressel riding in, fans on the shot, has it checked away, cleared out of the area by Kavanaugh. And this is Cox, picks it up at midfield. Syracuse with 3 minutes now in this first half.
Cox needs a good shot. He can make the game change if he gets a goal.
Just wide by Tom Nelson. 3:05 to play in this first half.
We're back at the Championship Division I Lacrosse, Syracuse against Hopkins, and here's a play that just happened that shows you the fitness of this Syracuse team. Todd Curry dead on the end line at one end, racing against the defensive players on Hopkins, outrunning 2 of them, picks up a freshman at midfield. That'll be Krumenacher coming into your picture right there. He can't catch him. Curry goes end line to end line, coast to coast, clears it for Syracuse.
Brad Kotz has had a nice game as well.
Absolutely. Curry and Kotz make up that fine first midfield unit. And here's a defensive play by Kotz coming in against Dressel. Going around trying to get the stick and just gets it on Dressel. And now Dressel had an excellent shot, and you can't value that kind of a check. That kind of thing can save a game for you in any quarter.
3 minutes now remaining in this first half. Syracuse in possession. They are trailing. Shot over the top by Kavanaugh, and it'll still be Syracuse ball.
It's uncanny, Bob, at the Syracuse team. It's almost as if they wait for the second half. This team loves to play in the fourth quarter. It drives the coaches crazy, and against Hopkins, they may not be able to do it.
Gordon Mapes, number 3, over the stick of Kotz. When Tenstead midfield had it come over that line, and you have to have 3 defenders behind it and 6 attackmen in front of it to be onside. Printup, number 7, Emmett Printup. Still in possession. Printup. Sneaky little shot with a backhand, and that was skittered wide.
That was a dramatic shot. He faked behind his back with a feed, rolled inside, and then shot low behind his legs.
Tim Nelson, number 1. Yes, you got it. DiTomaso's all over him.
Todd Curry took his eyes off it. Again, a nice cut, and that's what they need to do more of, I think. If Syracuse cut the crease and move the ball more, they'll be a little more successful. They seem to be doing a little bit too much one-on-one.
Curry looks to wind it up. 2 minutes now remaining in this first half. Riding in on Matrosini. In front, save made by Quinn. The shot by Kavanaugh. Quinn on form, is he ever?
Shows you why he's first-team All-American. He just turned it back. An excellent shot by Syracuse. A shot that meant so much because they're 3 goals down with less than 2 minutes.
And a whistle with 1:51. A timeout is taken by Johns Hopkins. So, remains a 6-3 game. Inside 2 minutes in this first half, and Lee Belsno and I will return to Providence for the conclusion of this first half in just a moment. Afternoon that is just tailor-made for this sport, and a game that has lived up to its billing. Johns Hopkins now leading at 6-3, having trailed 3-0. In possession, 90 seconds first half.
And what you'll see now is Syracuse work for the last shot, just like you do in basketball in a 4 corners type of thing. They'll control the ball, try to get the last shot. They'd love to go in with a 3-goal lead. They've got that. 4 goals is even better.
This is Boubier. Boubier, number 9. Krumenacher with that good shot, number 32. Del Dressel, who has 3 goals already.
A lot of movement, Bob, but the movement's a little bit of a false movement. They're going to hold that ball, try to get down to about 30 seconds or less before they get the good shot. And here are the shots on goal statistics. Syracuse 15 against the 6 for Hopkins, and that just shows you the accuracy that Hopkins has. 6 shots on goals, 6 in the goal, and that isn't bad.
45 seconds now. There's Wood to Boubier behind the net. In front, picked up by Dressel, looking for his 4th goal. Bounces it just wide of Nims. Boubier's back on it. Krumenacher winds it up. Stopped in front by Nims. Still unsettled in front. No whistle yet, and now we've got a whistle.
Might be an injury, too, but there was a push from behind on Hopkins early on that they didn't see. At least it looked up here. I shouldn't make a call as a referee. But Boubier came on with a nice hit. Looked like it was a little bit from behind. Excellent contact, excellent hustle. But through all that little bit of a fray as Nims, and look at Nims. He came out and was in the middle of that pile. And here is his Stats for an 85, shots 372, saves, and a great percentage of 69%.
We're seeing the creme de la creme of lacrosse talent, really, with all these All-Americans out here today and the goalies. And with 25 seconds remaining in the first half, Hopkins in possession with the lead.
They'll probably get the ball up top and let either Dressel or Krumnacher go one-on-one. Nope.
Save on that attempt. Mims comes out, finally controls it, spins away from 4 men, and retains possession in front. Still unsettled, and now we've got a whistle again.
Let me explain about contact. If you don't know the game of lacrosse, as long as you're within 5 yards of that ball, you can make body contact and blow a person away from that ball. If you're away from 5 yards, it's illegal. But that was a great shot of how you can have contact in the game of lacrosse with little or no equipment. Watch Nims comes out of the goal. He's pushing the ball upfield, trying to get control. Dodges one man, dodges another man. He can't dodge 3, though. He falls down. Now he knows he's in trouble. Watch him just sort of sit on it. He gets on it and says, "You're not getting it if I can't get it." And now the defense comes into his rescue. Boom, right there.
7 seconds in this first half.
Come on, bro. 7 seconds.
That's plenty of time for a shot. And let's see where the ball is located and be able to predict where the shot's going to come. Oh. Now what will happen here is that Hopkins may just sit on the ball. They may shoot real quick and back it up and then hold it, because if they have possession at the end of this period, they will start the third period with possession and 23 seconds left, or more than that, for the penalty. And that's exactly what they'll do. They'll just keep possession, have the ball in the extra man next quarter.
And we are at halftime, and so when Johns Hopkins starts the second half, they will begin in possession with a man advantage situation, having come from behind from a 3-goal deficit in front of a packed house in Brown University. Hopkins, the champions, looking to repeat. They've got the lead.